Okay, so shall we start? And a very, very warm welcome to this seminar series for all of you who are here. We are expecting a few more people to join us, so I guess that some people will drift in as and when they manage to master the technology. But shall we just go through and introduce ourselves? Because I think we're a small enough group to do that over the phone for this seminar. It might be slightly different next time, but hopefully we can all be as interactive as possible today and be able to chat using the phone line rather than just through the seminar series platform. So my name's Pauline Heslop. I'm from England, and a couple of years ago I have been leading a confidential inquiry into premature deaths with people with intellectual disabilities. So quite everyone's talking together, but Emily, do you want to just say hello, because you've been so supportive in setting up
Sure. We get just a little bit of feedback there. My name is Emily Lauer, and I'm from the United States, the University of Massachusetts Medical School, and I've been working in this area for a number of years, so it's a pleasure to get everyone together to be able to talk about this topic.
Right, thank you. So can we just go through country by country and introduce ourselves? So can we start with the UK? Who else from the UK is here?
Denise.
Denise, want to say hello and who you are?
Hello, I'm Denise Needleman, and I was one of the investigators with the confidential inquiry on Pauline's team.
Okay,
and I'm a registered social worker. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Denise. Dominic, you there?
So I'm Dominic Slurry. I'm the National Clinical Director for Learning Disability with NHS England, and we are leading the response to the recommendations in the inquiry and the study that Pauline and Denise were involved in.
Lovely, thank you. And Matt, are you there? Maybe he's not. Matt, are you there? No? Okay. Is anyone else from the UK here? Right, okay then. So I've got people on my list who are not talking, but that's fine. Okay, so next country, Australia. Who have we got from Australia?
Nick Larop here from the Queensland Centre for Intellectual and Developmental Disability.
Hi Nick, thank you for joining us, and I do appreciate that it's really late in the evening for you too. Thank you very much. And
Annie Florio from the University of New South Wales.
Great, thank you. Is Lynn there as well? Okay, that's fine. Anyone else from the US here? Who wants to talk? Okay, so Emily, you're on your own, I'm afraid. and Canada. Have we got anyone from Canada here? Yeah. Okay. Friedrich from Germany. Do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Frederick Diekmann from the Catholic University of Applied Sciences in Münster in Germany, and we did a study on mortality rates and life expectancy in Germany. And another colleague joins me today, Bianca Rodekor.
Okay, hello Bianca. You're very welcome.
Yeah, hi, this is Bianca. I'm working also at the Catholic University of Applied Sciences in a different project on inclusive social planning.
And who else have we got on the line? Can you say hello and introduce yourself, please?
This is...
Hello? Hi, hi. I'm a Diederik assistant from the Netherlands, Erasmus University Medical Center in Rotterdam. Intellectual Disability Medicine. Okay, lovely. Thanks very much for joining us. And is there anyone else?
Pauline, it's just to say that there's some chat coming
spamming on the chat box. It looks like Matt Houghton, Ava Whalen and Robert Barrett are having difficulty getting the voice access. So could we write the numbers there somewhere so they can phone in?
Yeah, so Emily's done that.
Could people please just use their computers? Thank you. We're just getting some feedback.
Maybe they need to be told to mute their computers like you told me.
Yes. Thank you, whoever did that. So yes, we've had a couple people who are still working on calling in, and I'm trying to get the numbers to them. So hopefully Matt and Ava are able to join us via phone in just a few minutes.
And Rob in Canada as well can't seem to get the mic to work. So hello, Rob. I'll be having you joining us, but it would be great if you could talk to us.
Rob, we're not using the mics this time because of the feedback issues. So if you can just call into the access number that we sent, you'll be able to join us in speaking here.
Okay, so Rob, can you phone us? Brilliant. Okay, thank you.
Hello, Pauline. Hello, everyone. It's Matt Houghton.
Hi, Matt. Do you want to just introduce yourself to everybody, just to who you are?
Hi, I'm Matt Houghton. I'm from the UK. I'm a GP with a research interest in learning disabilities, and I work with Pauline at the Northern Fire Unit in the University of Bristol.
Okay, great, thank you. So, Rob, have we got you yet? Yes. And Eva, have we got you yet? Okay, so very well. Try again. Can I just give a little bit of an introduction to our series? Emily, can you put the next slide up?
Yes, I can.
Oh, here you go. Thank you. What we're going to cover in this hour is just a little bit of an introduction to the seminar series and talk about how they've come about and what we're planning to do with it. And then the main part of the meeting will be talking about what we know now about comparative people with intellectual disabilities from an international perspective. And then we'll finish by talking about future topics and dates and a couple of new items. So I hope that's okay for everybody. So just as an introduction to the seminar, the next slide, Emily, if you could, please. So really came about through the involvement of myself and Matt and Emily, who were involved in reviewing drafts of people with learning disabilities in our respective countries, and wanted to really find out what the situation was in a wider range of countries. So I know that some of you are not familiar with web-based technology, and the same with me. I've never managed a webinar before. We rely very heavily on Emily for this. So just to get you familiar with some of the functionalities of the site, we've got a little poll. So you can complete that. So the first is a question about who are you, and the second is a question about where you're from. So you should be able to fill that in now, if that's possible, and then we can all see. Emily, can you just talk us through it? So we fill in the clicks in the boxes, yeah?
Yes, so you should be able to just check into the boxes and then we'll see how many people are responding to each of the different options.
Everybody managed to do that?
I'm seeing responses.
I just get difficulties my end.
Okay, that's a nice little bar graph here.
Oh, that's good. I'm impressed.
academics, but it's great that we've got practitioners and policymakers here too. And we've got quite a few people, well, a range of countries actually, which is great. Thank you. So there's one more question, just to know you're in the frame for this. It's about whether you've attended a webinar before or whether you've run a webinar. Right. So most people, 2/3 of people have attended a webinar before, which is great. A viewer who's actually done it. Okay, lovely, thank you. So, talk us through the rest of the technology in terms of raising your hand and all the rest of it, please.
Sure, absolutely. So there is a bar, there should be a bar at the top of your screen that has a little icon of a person with their hand raised, and there should be a drop-down menu here. And that will allow you to do things like raise your hand or agree or disagree or instruct the speaker to speak up more loudly or slow down, and even respond with laughter or applause. Now, we use these a little bit more in bigger webinars because it's tough to get everyone on the phone line and keep it open. But there are ways to respond. There's also a chat box that will keep up through each of the different screens, so you can either write a response to everyone, which is the default, or if you're having issues, you can send a message directly to me as the host.
Brilliant, okay. So let's quickly go through the aims of the webinar series then. As I said, the series was established as a result of the confidential inquiry into premature death of people with learning disabilities in the UK. And that study was funded by the Department of Health from 2010-2012 to assess the extent of premature deaths in people with intellectual disabilities and provide suggestions for reducing premature mortality. And we started to link up with other people internationally and held a couple of meetings, all of which were attached to international conferences, and then applied, largely just by us in the UK, but including international collaborators, and thank you all very much for sending in letters of support for this. So we were funded by the Economic and Social Research Council to formalise this contact and really cement working together over the longer term. So the aim of the seminar series is to bring us all together, both academics, policymakers and practitioners from different countries, share our experiences of measuring, comparing and using mortality data for people with intellectual disabilities, to try and advance research into mortality of people with learning disabilities, sufficient to allow us to make inferences at both national and international levels, and really to support the development of practical initiatives and strategies to address common concerns that we have identified by the data. And against those aims of the seminar, there's a set of key objectives which we will be trying to, which are for the next slide. And the first is that to agree definitions and benchmarks that will support the collection of international comparable data. And certainly we've already started discussions about this, about how we define intellectual disabilities and what we're measuring when we're talking about mortality, what sort of age range we're including, etc. But we'll bring all of that together in the seminar that Nick is going to lead next time, which will be in March time. Another objective is to share our experiences about collecting mortality data, including practical and ethical issues that we're facing, and really to provide the community of support for academics, practitioners and policymakers working in this field. We want to support academics in writing funding applications to undertake further work. And as part of that as well, part of the funding that we received was for bursaries for junior researchers who are interested in coming into this field to support their attendance at conferences, to try and encourage them to come into this field of work. And ultimately to try and provide some initial international comparisons about premature mortality in people with intellectual disabilities, sufficient for the development of fairly international strategies that we could use to address premature mortality. So that's a very quick gallop through the aims and objectives of the series. There's quite a lot of work to do there, but I think there's also a lot of enthusiasm and goodwill, and I really thank you for that. So the overall plan for the seminar series is in year one, there's our first webinar is now. We'll have a second in March 2015, which I've already mentioned, and Nick will be leading, and then the third in July 2015. And next year we're planning on 2 webinars in November 15 and March 2016, followed by a face-to-face meeting in Australia, which will coincide with the IACID World Congress in August 2016, which is being held in Melbourne. And then in year 3, again, we'll have 2 webinars in the November and following March, and then there will be a final meeting. We haven't quite decided the location for this yet, but it'll be either the UK, the US, or Europe, and that'll be in July 2017 to conclude the seminar series. Any questions from anyone about that before we carry on? Okay, kind of knows the purpose of what we're trying to achieve. Okay, so shall we move on to where we are now then? And we are hoping that those people will join us and be able to talk to us about what we know now about mortality of people with learning intellectual disabilities in their own countries. So before we do that, I just want to be clear about the definition of intellectual disabilities that we're using at the moment. So we're referring to people who've got significant limitations in cognitive and adaptive functioning, which affect areas of major life activity and the capacity to live independently as an adult. They originated before the person reached adulthood and are one of the topics that we've been discussing with is age range. So we're meaning anything 22 years of age at the moment, and impairments are likely to be lifelong in nature. Take it so that we're aware that we're So, Emily, do you want to kick us off with what we know about age and cause of death of intellectual disabilities in the USA?
Sure. Thanks, Pauline. So our system in the United States is largely state-based, and there have been state initiatives to look at mortality trends, usually in what I would call the sort of social service realm, where this is state funding and federal funding to support people, often in staffed residential settings or other financially supported and staff-supported residences or services that are assisting people to live in the community or in facilities over here. And so we've had some states that have been doing this for a number of years. Others are not tracking this at all. So we've had our Government Accountability Office has issued a report a number of years back that looked at states that were doing this. I know Massachusetts and Connecticut were among 2 at the time. Many years ago who were tracking this and really suggested that states should be doing this in terms of the quality of looking at the quality of services and other measures to help inform the health of the population. So we're at a little bit of the mercy of the states and whether they're funding this and how they're collecting the data. but also how they're defining their services and the population that's included. Unfortunately, we don't have any states, I think, that are looking at mortality patterns in the whole population of people with intellectual disabilities, because most of those populations are not known in their entirety. But for some of the states that have been looking at it, we've been using that data for more than 10 years now, and so we're able to look at some of the longer term patterns. And in general, we're seeing average ages of death around 60 years, and for most states. And then we're also seeing some cause of death patterns that are, the top causes are usually heart disease and cancer, mimicking our own general population trends here. But we see a smaller proportion of people with intellectual disabilities dying from those causes, and what we then see are other causes coming in that are more unique to this population, such as aspiration pneumonia and some of the other syndrome-specific issues. So there's much more of a spread in the cause of death profile than we would see in the general population here.
Thank you, Emily. We're getting a bit of echoing on the line. Is there a reason for that?
It might be that someone's computer speakers are being picked up by their phone line. And just a quick question.
Okay.
I see a question here from Matt asking if there is a gender difference. We see a gender difference typically in the lifespan. So similar to the general population, females do tend to live into older age than the males, but we don't see many differences between gender in the cause of death.
Okay.
Can I ask any other questions? Is that all?
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's the call.
Can I ask, Emily, do you have any syndrome-specific data at all? Like, for instance, Down syndrome?
We do have some of the states were able to isolate that population and look, and so what we see with Down syndrome, for example, is a lot of deaths from Alzheimer's disease, because of course there is a relationship there, and it is at much younger ages as well, into the 40s and 50s.
Are there any other questions for Emily?
Can I ask, Emily, what about falls? Because that seemed to feature quite heavily in your data. Is that right, or am I just...
No, that's correct. What we see, so falls come under the way the mortality is coded here is through the ICD-10 categorization. So under unintentional injuries, people with intellectual disabilities here have a similar rate of death from accidents, but the profile of those accidents are different. They look much more like an elderly population, and falls is the top accidental cause of death here. And we have done other studies to look at what kind of lies underneath that, not just people who died from falls, but who have more severe falls or hospitalizations for falls. And there's a huge risk from a number of issues, both from physical disabilities, but also from a lot of the psychotropic medications and other vision issues that put kind of a multitude of risks on this population for falls.
Emily, can I just add something? We were looking at our causes of death together, weren't we? And we noticed that the UK has far higher rates of death, epilepsy and ischemic stroke than the US did. Do you want to... they're based on small samples and they're unstandard and age standardized, but it was quite an interesting comparison actually, wasn't it?
It was. It was definitely, I think, an unexpected difference that we're seeing, and I think we're still kind of digging through those comparison of causes. But yes.
Okay. So, any more questions for Emily before we move on?